Okay, thank you everybody for coming today to my professional development on multicultural literature. We were supposed to have a small little video, but we had some technical difficulties, so I want to start right away with our icebreaker. If you guys can open up your books, I want you to do the following. Answer the following questions by yourself. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then we're going to share them as a group. Okay, so the first question is, what is your full name? Beginning, first, middle, and last. The next question is going to be, did you get it for a special reason? Did you inherit it? Was it somebody else's name in your family? Did your parents just like it? What is the reason that you have your name, if there's any? Also, do you know the meaning of your name? The other question is going to be, do you like it? And if you don't, if you could pick another name for yourself, what would it be and why? And my last question is, do you feel like a name is important to someone? Do you feel like it gives them identity? What do you feel like when you think about someone's name? I'm going to give you a few minutes just to complete that. Okay, I'm going to start with anybody that wants to go first.
I'll go first.
Okay, we have Miss Lorraine in the corner over here. You can't see her.
My full name is Lorraine Pino, and I got it because my aunt, my mother's sister, her name is Lorraine Pino, but they swear that that's not why I got it. And she got the name because my grandfather's name was Larry. So I guess I'm really happy it's not Loretta or something like that. So it's Lorraine because of that. And I don't think I would like another name because I've grown to, this is me, Lorraine is who I am. But I was thinking about you with choosing names, and I thought about when I first had when I was choosing a name for my daughter. And I was thinking about, from a parent's standpoint, you try to pick a name that you hope your child will be like, besides just being pretty and things like that. You kind of want your child to be like that, whether it's the name of your grandfather or the name of your mother or just a name that you like Larissa because it's so girly, or I think you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good.
I think that.
Thanks. Anybody else want to answer question one?
Sure. My parents apparently wanted me to be like a fruit because I am named after a cantaloupe. My dad said that my head was shaped like a cantaloupe, and at the time, in 1981, there was a cantaloupe called a Jenny Lind, Lind. So I'm Jennifer Lynn. And, not named after a grandparent, named after a fruit. So, yes,
Yeah.
I don't like Jennifer because I feel like I'm in trouble when people say Jennifer, but I do like Jen. So there you go.
Good. Thanks, Jen.
Sure.
I'll do mine. I did my whole name from birth to now, so I'm Gina Maria Baruffi Endress, and I sort of got the name by default because I didn't look like the other names when I came out, I guess. So I did have a great Uncle Gino and a great Aunt Mary, so it had some family connection. I don't know the exact meaning, and yes, I think a name is important, and that's where I went to naming your own children. I felt like it was a lot of pressure because they've got to sit there with that name, and you may go, oh, that's cute, but then they sit there and kids rhyme things with them, or if it sounds too much like this or like that, it's a lot of pressure. So I do think it's important, but I always liked my name. And it was actually hard to let go of my name because it was a part of who I was, and then when I got married, that was all brand new. So that was kind of hard for me to let that go because that was exactly who I was, and I identified with that.
Thanks.
My full name is Angelina Vera Baruffi Hill, and I have kept Baruffi as my middle name for the same reason. I just feel very connected to my family and my Italian heritage. You know, I went to Hill, which is a little more ambiguous, I guess, as far as that's concerned. But I am named after both of my grandmothers, and I love that. I would never change that. I think as a child I didn't like the name Vera so much because it wasn't common and sounded kind of like an old lady. But now I really appreciate it, having grown to know my grandmother, and both my grandmothers were wonderful people. So I wouldn't change it, and I do think names are important, whether it's for a namesake, connecting you to a larger family, or the meaning. Angelina means angel, Vera means truth, so those are very noble things. I like that about my name as well, and naming my children, the meanings have been very important to me.
Good. Thanks. All right, we're going to, in a round robin, just keep going on just so we can walk through it. Number 2. Did we already answer 2?
Sorry, my name jumped. Yeah, sorry.
That's
I
okay.
jumped around.
That's okay. Number 3 then?
We like
You liked it. You said that too.
Most.
Okay, let's go to 4. Let's go to 4 then. What do you feel like? Do you feel like it's part of your identity? I know we kind of said that too, but let's speak a little bit about name and being identified with that name, how important it is to, especially a young child.
I thought it was funny what you said, that when your whole name is spoken, it means something totally different
Yes.
than your nickname or the shorter version of your name.
God help me if I get Jennifer Lynn.
That's
Right.
a big deal.
Yes.
That's a big
Yes.
deal.
Right.
So you do from when you're little, that
Associate.
starts going in your brain when you're little.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Same thing with nicknames, because I have several children that come in and they're called Junior at home, or they're called, something else at home, and then they come to school and you're teaching them that this is actually your name. We can call you that, but your actual name is Christopher, or something like that. So they're learning to identify with their real name, but they have two identities, kind of.
What do you
Together.
think other children think of when they hear a unique multicultural name? Do you think there are any stereotypes come up with that automatically because a certain culture chooses to name someone something different than the traditional name? What do you think, what stereotypes or feelings you think a child could have because of that?
I have a kindergarten class, so I really think they're not affected by that. I think they're too young. I think adults are affected by that more so than the children are. Little children.
Right, kindergarten.
I think it goes more along the lines of what Gina was saying about getting teased, rhyming.
Right,
meaning
the
something
rhyme, that's what I
else.
was going to say,
Yes.
rhyming. The
Yes,
sound
the
of it,
sound
maybe,
of it more
makes
than
them-
the meaning of the name or something like that for kids.
I just, as a teacher, and try to be really mindful of when you have a name on a paper and you're calling out their names the first time, I'll just say, can you say your name for me? Because
Right.
my name means a lot to me,
Right,
so I want to make sure I say your
Right.
name right, so that as the teacher, you're not going, what do you
Right,
say
right.
that?
And
Because
that's-
you could. I mean,
right.
your brain is going, how do you say that? But
Right.
you want to, from the beginning, make them be proud of, well, that is who I am.
Sure.
And say politely, no, you didn't say that right, or this is how you say it.
Sure, and that's being culturally sensitive without even making an effort to be culturally sensitive,
Yes.
which is pretty much what this presentation is about today. So good. Thank you very much for answering those questions. We're going to move on. Lorraine you're not going to be able to see her over there because she's working the slideshow for me because of our technical difficulties. So we're going to move, we're still on page 1 in your packets. And the goal for us today is to see why multicultural literature is important for our classroom. So in order to understand why it's important, we have to understand what it is first. So you're at the bottom, multicultural literature, we're going to define it, okay? According to Sonia Nieto, who is a very, she's very, someone was just waving in there, sorry. She's very profound in making steps towards making multiculturalism not so much an issue to talk about, but kind of a normalcy. So she says that this is literature that reflects a multitude of cultural groups within the United States. Literature that reflects ethnic and regional groups whose cultures historically have been less represented than European cultures. Examples of these are African American, Latino, Asians, and Native Americans. While you're walking through this packet, I want you to ask yourself questions like, in my library at school, how many books do I have that represent Latinos or Asians or Native Americans or even African Americans? And if it's 1, why is it only 1? If it's 10 Latinos but no Native Americans, I want you to ask yourself these questions, why, as we walk through this. Okay. So, oh, it's working. We're on the next slide. Okay, so why is multicultural literature important for me in my classroom? Now, I've been to a lot of workshops, and people ask themselves these questions like, oh, another thing to learn, another thing to incorporate. I'm so involved with now the core content standards and best practices, and you're feeling so overwhelmed. And honestly, some teachers might think, well, I don't have that many cultures in my building. I've worked in schools where there's not a whole lot of multicultural, so why does it apply to me? Okay, so we're going to find out some of these answers today as we walk through. Okay, so the first thing that I decided to do is give you some support, okay? According to a scholarly article in the Reading Research Quarterly, which for reading, that's a pretty good scholarly article. Incorporating rich, authentic, multicultural literacy into your personal library and honoring multiculturalism daily allows students to feel a normalcy about diversity. The key word to understand here is normalcy. Picture you, if you don't speak English and you walk into a brand new classroom and everybody's running around and people know each other and you're feeling kind of stuck. You don't know what the word means on the wall. You want your teachers to receive that student in a normal way, not like, hey, let's all make a big deal about this student because he's not like us. That's very, it's very hard for someone to walk into a room like that.